Hi everybody, I'm Roy Firestone and this is our weekly show on Facebook and YouTube. For those who grew up in a different time, this is a beautiful artifact that time is almost forgotten. It's called the jukebox. Now jukeboxes came into this world in the 19th century. In 1889, the inventor Louis Glass installed a music machine in a corner of the Palais Royal Saloon in San Francisco. The machine was an Edison phonograph modified with a coin slot and installed inside an oak cabinet. By the turn of the century, there were thousands of jukeboxes all over America and in Europe and in Asia. But technology rendered most of those beautiful machines obsolete. First, jukeboxes played 78 RPM discs, but the discs were so large the machines could only hold a few. But then came the 45s, which were smaller and could play more tunes and offer more contemporary hit records. Then even the 45s became old school and out of favor. In came CDs. And out went the 45s. And for me, at least, the joy, watching that mechanism select a tune, watching the label spin around on that record as the machine played the hits, it kind of lost its charm to technology. The jukebox you see here is a Wurlitzer Jukebox, a reproduction from the 1940s model called the Gazelle. I've owned that jukebox for about 40 years, and it never ceases to bring a smile to my face. How many times, how many hours I'd listen to my tunes, the Beatles and Marvin Gaye and Sam Cooke and the Four Tops, the Temptations, the Drifters, Stevie Wonder. But what would a jukebox be without Johnny Mathis on record singing "Chances Are" or "Look at Me"? Johnny Mathis, right? I mean, Johnny was the original jukebox staple for romance and amour. Jukeboxes, to me, are filled with not just great music, but wonder and beauty. Those neon lights, the change and the colors are dazzling, almost psychedelic. And when my first boy was born, it was feeding time about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd slow dance with him in front of that jukebox, and the colors seemed to calm him and mystify him. And it did me, too. It lulled him back to sleep, but it filled us both with awe, an awe that never left me or him. Then as he grew up to the age of, say, 4 and 5, my son would ask me to play some tunes on that wonderful box with the lights and the colors. "Don't Go, Please Stay," a popular song by the Drifters. That was his favorite. In fact, as early as I can remember, my son loved to sing those words, "Don't go, please stay," as his friend the jukebox played with the colors flashing and his eyes twinkled and a smile came over his face. You know, I get still a little choked up when that song comes on the jukebox these days. My son is now 32 years old. He hardly cares about that song anymore. Anyway, I always loved jukeboxes, and I've collected a few to go with my arcade games, and I am staunchly anti-technology. I would never own a CD jukebox. I mean, I think it's an abomination. I mean, what's the point? I love to read the labels and guess the artists and the songs and what they're about to be. I have the Swan label of the Beatles' "She Loves You," and then later Orange and Yellow, the Capitol records of the Beatles as they became a phenomenon. I love the Laurie label that was red and white and played my beloved Jerry and the Pacemakers recordings of "Ferry Cross the Mersey," "Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying," and many others. Laurie also meant Dion and the Belmonts. Ah, what fun it was to guess which label was bringing my beloved tune into that room. Watching those labels spin around was one of the joys that came from this magical box with colors and light and music. Happiness filled the room as those tunes played in my house. Before Alexa or some digitalized, computerized machine could play almost any of your favorites by simply asking, well, that might be cool and technologically smart, but I think something is lost in the bargain. It's in the simple joy and wonder of watching those records spin for you and the bond the machine seemed to have with my heart. I never tire of my old friend the jukebox, and when I'm sad or tired or lonely, I fire up that machine and the colors pour out and illuminate the room late at night. And my old friends, those songs make me smile and feel less alone or blue. Sinatra on the jukebox, Tony Bennett, Nat Cole, later Karen Carpenter and her brother, the Spinners. All of my musical friends lived in that box. I imagine they were all human for a few moments, begging me to play them first. If nothing else, jukeboxes like the ones I have a reminder of a simpler time, a more innocent time, when tunes were etched in your soul and those 45s represented your youth and romance and memories. I actually feel sorry for a generation that never knew the joys of the jukebox, when simply asking some cold robotic device to play your song, blah, misses the point. They miss the show. They miss the gorgeous and glamorous and sweet, simple, sentimental joys of the jukebox. Willie Nelson once said, 99% of the world's lovers are not with their first choice. That's why they make the jukebox play. The jukebox never let me down. It's a lover that never broke my heart and filled my spirit with love and happiness, always. And as long as I live, my old friend the jukebox will sustain me and make my heart happy. I wish I could say that about every person in my life, but I can't. So here's to you, Mr. Gazelle. You keep the music playing, and those wonderful recordings are once again alive and vibrant. It never gets old and keeps me young and alive forever, because it is the lover that is my first choice. That's our show for this week. We'll see you next week.